Welcome back to Kelly Rene Every Day, where I am here dedicated to teaching the fundamentals of crochet to the absolute beginner. Now, what I've got in store for you in this video is looking at the double crochet stitch. This is another one of our fundamental stitches in crochet. Now, this particular video is only going to focus on that one stitch, and we're going to be working on creating this swatch. And we are going to be utilizing 4-weight yarn. In this case, I'm using Lion brand yarns. You can really pick any type of number 4 or medium yarn. I'm going to be using a 6mm hook, which is what they suggest here on the ball of yarn. Go by whatever your manufacturer suggests, or 6mm would be great for a 4-weight yarn. And also try to make it a 100% acrylic yarn. When we use acrylic, it just works up nicely in our fingers. It also is going to be machine washable and dryable, so it's a very good all-around type of a yarn. Additionally, we're going to need our crochet hook, and again, this particular yarn suggests the 6mm, so that's what I'm going with. So I have that here. And additionally, I'm going to show you how to use stitch markers to give us a guidance on starting and stopping rows, as well as being able to count our rows. And that's what you kind of see on the ends here of this swatch. Okay, as we get started, I think it's worth noting and showing the difference between a double crochet and a single crochet. So this swatch is made in my video called Learn to Crochet in 2 hours, and we work 4 rows of single crochet, taking it step by step by step. You even have a little bit of homework in there. I like to call it a little mini course, okay? Now, if you have found my double crochet video before you've done this one and you're an absolute beginner, I suggest going back and doing this video first. I will link it down below in the comments, and it's going to take you from getting your supplies through holding the yarn, the hook, getting your yarn on the hook, all the way through creating all 4 of these rows and using stitch markers to mark the ends and the beginnings. Okay, so that's going to be where I'm going to suggest you to go. But if you have already watched this video and are now looking to go to your next stitch, which is the double crochet, then you're in the right spot. So as we can see here, fundamentally, you'll notice that from single to double crochet, it's literally double the height, okay? So I'm going to show you how we achieve that doubling of the height. But the process of working the rows, using the chain, doing the slip knot, many of the things are going to be familiar to us from that first Learn to Crochet in 2 hours video. Now, the first thing we're going to do as we do this, we're going to work a row of chains, okay? Since we're gonna use the same 20 stitches that we want in our rows, we're then going to add a couple at the end here, and we'll talk about that. We are then going to mark our first stitch on our row as we go back with a stitch marker, and then we're going to turn, and then we're going to start our next row on top, and we're going to then also mark the first stitch on that row, and we're going to continue to work back and forth until we've accomplished 4 full rows. Okay, so that's where we're going next. We're ready to get started. So as I said earlier, we need to start with our foundational chain. Our foundational chain needs to accommodate a total of 20 stitches, but we need to add 2 stitches at the end for our turn before we come back and start our first row of double crochet. So we're going to do actually a total of 22 stitches, okay, for chains. So right here, we're going to start by yarning over, pulling through. That's going to be 1. Yarn over, pull through. A reminder, we want this chain to be loose. We do not want it tight at all, otherwise it's going to be hard to actually stitch back into it with our double crochets. So chain on the loose side. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, now that's going to equal how long our swatch is going to be, but we need to add 2 more for our turn. So I'm going to do that. So that was 20, 21, and 22. Okay, so now to start the double crochet on the way back here, we are going to start our first double crochet in the 3rd stitch from our hook. Okay, so as we look here, our loop is not a stitch. The one that it's coming through is the 1st, the next one is the 2nd, so the 3rd is going to be right there, okay? Now, how we start a double crochet is different than a single crochet, all right? So we start with what we call a yarn over, okay? And we've used yarn over before. We're going to yarn over and we're going to add, like if you would, a loop to our hook. Once we yarn over, then we're going to go into that first chain. We're going to yarn over and we're going to pull up a loop. We're going to have we're going to have 3 loops. One. Snuck off of there. We're going to have 3 loops on our hook. Now we're going to yarn over again and we're going to pull through just 2. Okay, the first 2 on our hook, and we're going to still have 2 left. And then we're going to do that one more time. We're going to yarn over and pull through these 2. Okay, let's try it again. Yarn over, and we're going to go into our next chain. We're going to yarn over, pull up a loop. We've got 3 on. Yarn over, pull through just the first 2. Yarn over and pull through the last 2. Yarn over, let's do another one. Yarn over first for a double crochet, go into our chain. Then we're going to yarn over, pull up that loop, so we've got 3 on. Now we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through just the first 2, and then we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through the last 2. When we've got just 1 loop on our hook, we know we've finished up. Now, we've created 3 double crochets, all right? So what I want to do is, now that we've got a couple on here, we are going to mark that first stitch in this row, all right? So let's kind of see what we've got. We've got our chain, we've got our first 3 double crochets. Our first 3 double crochets are this first one, second one, third one. And the tops of each one of those are going to be our traditional V's. So our first V is here, our second V is here, and our third one is making the corner, okay? So I'm going to grab a stitch marker on that third one from my hook, which is the first one in our first row. And I'm simply going to stick my stitch marker through there so that when I come back and I end the row on this one, it's going to be in my second row, I know where to stop. I know where to stop. Okay, now we're going to continue on. I'm going to rotate, I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to go into my work, yarn over, pull up a loop. I've got 3 on, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the second 2. Okay, and we're going to keep going. Get my yarn here. All right. Start with a yarn over. I'm going to go into that next chain. Yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 on. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Now because of the height that this creates, this actually becomes a stitch that works up projects pretty quickly, okay? So yarn over, we're going to go back into our stitch, yarn over, pull up 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. There we go. Yarn over, do our next one, and keep going. Yarn over for the 3 loops, get them onto your largest part of your barrel, yarn over, pull through those first 2, yarn over, and pull through the last 2. Look at that. Yarn over, pull up a third, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. So fun, so fun. Okay, Keep going. Yarn over. Go in to our chain. Yarn over, pull up a loop. 3 on, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through the last 2. There we go. Yarn over. Go in. Yarn over. Pull up that 3rd loop. Yarn over. Pull through 2. Yarn over. Pull through 2. Yarn over. Go in. Yarn over. Pull up that loop. Pull through 2. Pull through 2. You end with 1, you know you finished. Okay? Let's see where we're at. So good. Okay. Look at there. See how nice and tall that is? See how nice and even those stitches are? And as we kind of flip this forward, we've got V's. We've got the top of our stitches, and they look just like that chain stitch. They look just like the single crochet, except when we flip it on its side, we now have a taller stitch. Let's keep going all the way to the end. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. Okay. Sorry. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull up that loop. We've got 3 on, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through the last 2. Go in. Don't forget the yarn over as you start, and then you just pull through 2 each time between your yarn over. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull up. We've got 3 on, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull up that loop, 3 on, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay? We're nearing the end. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, we've got a couple more to go here, and we've got 1, 2, 3 stitches to go. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, go in, this is the second to the last, yarn over, 2, yarn over, 2. All right, very last one right before our slip knot. We're going to yarn over, we're going to go in, yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Now that ends our row, okay? And what we want to do is we want to count our stitches, okay? Let's count our stitches. Now I'm going to pull my hook out here, and I am going to use my pencil to kind of point here, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to count the V's at the very top of our stitch. So this is the very first one is where our loop is coming out. Remember, that loop is never counted as a stitch, so it's this one is our first one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. I'm going to kind of stick in here for a second. 12, 12, 12, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 is coming around that corner, and that's where my stitch marker is in. Okay? That is going to be was the first stitch on our first row, but it's going to be the stitch that we make sure we go through as our last stitch on the second row that's coming up. Okay, so now let's turn. We've got to we need to now make a row on top of here. So to do that, kind of get back in here, I'm going to get my yarn in place here on my hook, and before I turn and I start on the top here, I need to chain 2. So I'm going to simply yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. So you chain 2. Once we chain 2, we're literally going to turn the work, okay? Now whether you turn it the way I did or the opposite way, it really doesn't matter, okay? It's just that now we're going to work from right to left again. Now here's my chain 2, and right at the base of that chain 2, right here, is where my first stitch is from that previous row. It's the last V that was created. Okay, so I'm going to go right underneath those two V's. Okay, if you can see that here, I'm going to go right underneath there, and that's going to be where I'm going to enter. Now, this is a double crochet, so I need to yarn over first. Before I enter, I'm going to go into that space I just showed you. I'm going to yarn over, pull up a loop, and I've got my 3 on. Okay, now I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to pull through 2, pull through 2. So the action is exactly the same, except this time we're going underneath our V-stitch instead of into a chain. Okay, so we're going to yarn over first step, and there's our next V. We're going to go right underneath there, both V's, yarn over, pull up, got 3 on, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Okay, that was my second one. Yarn over, go in underneath those V's, yarn over, pull up that 3rd loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now, since we've created those first 3, let's go ahead and put our stitch marker into the first stitch on this row. So here's our 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So right here is where our stitch marker is going to go, which will mark the first stitch on this row. So I'm simply going to go in here, close this up, whoopsie, close that up, and I've got that one marked. Okay, we're ready to continue on our row. We've got that first stitch marked, yarn over, we're going to go underneath our V's here again, and this looks just like where we go in, exactly like a single crochet. Okay, so we're going to go underneath the V's on that stitch down below. But I have to yarn over first. That's the difference in this stitch. We're going to yarn over first. We're going to go underneath our V's, yarn over, pull up, and now we've got 3 on our hook instead of 2 like a single. All right, but we still pull just through 2, and then we pull just through the 2. So good. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull up, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, 3 on, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Yarn over, in, yarn over, pull up, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and we continue. We continue. And you can see how much taller this stitch is and how much thicker you make more progress faster. But the stitch itself isn't as dense and as stiff as a single crochet. So honestly, it's not that it's any worse or any better of a stitch. It's going to be more appropriate for different things, okay? And as you start to play with these stitches and get used to them, you're going to, see and feel that difference, okay? You're going to see and feel that difference. Okay, so I'm starting to get closer to the end of this second row. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing my double crochets in here. See, yarn over first, I can't forget. Okay, yarn over. Yarn over, I'm in my second to last, right? And now here's my, here's my stitch marker right there, okay? And I'm gonna yarn over and I'm gonna go through, sorry, I've got to focus in here, getting a little bit further away. Let me try that again, I don't wanna lose you. Last stitch of the row, yarn over. We're gonna go right into that stitch, we're gonna leave the stitch marker in there. I'm going to use it for a row counter as well. I'm going to yarn over, pull up 3, okay? And then I'm going to yarn over, pull through my 2, and pull through my 2. And don't worry, even if you get this in here, they're easy to undo and pull out. Okay, so now I'm at the end of my second row. Okay, now we have completed our second full row. We're ready to start our next row. To do that, we need to start out again by chaining 2 before we do our turn. So we're going to put our hook back in. We're going to start by yarning over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, 2 chains. Now I'm gonna turn my work and I'm ready to start working in the tops of my double crochets into the V's, okay? Now the very first one that I'm gonna work into, if we look at our chain here, right at that spot right there is where I'm going to go in. It's right at the base, and it's actually underneath the very first V that would have been in that previous row. Now because I'm double crocheting, I need to start with a yarn over, and I'm going to go right into that base stitch, and I'm going to yarn over, pull through, get 3 on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, go into the next one. This will be my second one. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, that's my second one. I'll do one more before we put our stitch marker in. Yarn over, go into the next V at the top of my double crochet. I've got 3 on. Yarn over, pull through just the 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Okay, so as we look here, I'm just going to take my hook out for a second. We're going to look at the top of this row. See the V's? We see 1, 2, 3. Okay, now in that third one that I just counted, which is the first one on our row, we are going to stick our stitch marker. That's going to mark what will be our last, will be our last stitch on this row when we come back. Okay, so now we're going to put our yarn back in, and we are going to continue on. Yarn over, go through, yarn over, pull up through 2, yarn over, through 2. Yarn over, go in, pull up that loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And we continue. And again, this is where you're going to kind of feel your rhythm. This is where you're going to start getting, you know, better and more even on these stitches. Okay. Yarn over, pull through 2 all the time on the double crochet. And don't forget to start with your yarn over so you get that extra loop on the hook. Now again, if you need to run back to that first learn to crochet in 2 hours, that is where you're going to, you know, do all of the, you know, details and the ins and outs of getting started, holding the yarn, chaining, holding that hook, single crocheting, turning those rows, using the stitch markers, and making sure you've got good, even stitches. I give you a little homework, okay, just like I'm going to here. It'll come at the end of this video, but by doing the homework and putting in the time, that is where you're going to get better. I'm going to tell you, this isn't one of those things that just happens, you know, at the end of this video, you know how to crochet. At the end of this video, you have what you need to crochet, but now it's going to be practice and time. Go into, I've got just, looks like I've got my second to last stitch here. Okay, and now here's the last one with my stitch marker in. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to go in under those loops, yarn over, pull up that third loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Okay, now I have 3 rows done. One last row to do to complete this 4-row swatch. And to start our 4th and final row, we need to do 2 chain stitches. 1, 2 at the very end here, and then we will turn. We're going to do our initial 3 double crochets and then place our stitch marker. So to do this, we're going to yarn over, we're going to go into that base stitch, yarn over, pull up that loop, we've got 3 on, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. That's our first one. Yarn over, goes into our second stitch, pull up that loop, yarn over, through 2, yarn over, through 2. And our third stitch, yarn over, go into that underneath of that stitch, yarn over, 3 on, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's our first 3. So now let's place our stitch marker in the first stitch of the row, which is going to be the 1, 2, 3rd one from where we just ended. Okay. So I'm going to take the little end and I'm just going to place it right there. Now this is the beginning of our 4th row. Oopsie. Beginning of our 4th row, right in there. Okay. Put our hook back in, and now we're going to continue across. Yarn over, go in, underneath, yarn over, pull up, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Yarn over, in, yarn over, pull up 3, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And continue. And your homework, okay, officially, this is a little mini course here. Your homework, and I am dedicated to getting you enough practice so that you're confident and you've got nice even stitches and that you feel like you can crochet, all right? And this is you can crochet, all right? Your homework is going to be to do 4 more rows by yourself, okay? Now you can certainly back up this video, start back over, and start on that first row and review turning and counting and placing your stitch markers. But you now have everything that you need in order to do the double crochet, turning and creating, you know, a swatch like we see here. Now, although this swatch might not be something at the end that is going to be usable, this is our practice, okay? And practice makes perfect. We all need to do our practice in order to build a skill, okay? All right, I'm arriving at the end here. Here we go. I've got the last 2 stitches underneath. And now I'm at my stitch marker. Yarn over, go in, underneath here. Okay, pull up and pull through 2. See, and pull through 2. Okay, there I am. We have created 4 rows. Now, let's look at how the stitch markers have helped us, okay? I'm actually going to turn it over this way, only because I want to show kind of where our chain started. Our chain started right here on this end. We chained 20 plus 2 to turn. We placed this at the beginning of our first row. We made our first row across. We then chained 2 and started our second one at the beginning of our second. Then we went through, placed our third, and then placed our 4th. We have 4 stitch markers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have 4 full rows. Now, as I stated, it's homework time. So your homework is going to be to create 4 more rows on top here, adding in your stitch markers to help you to make sure that you're counting correctly and to make sure that you continue to stay 20 wide all the way up. Don't forget to take time to count your stitches, and then also making sure that your technique and the fundamentals that I've been emphasizing here are all coming together. So after you've done your next 4 rows, you are going to be able to say you know how to do a double crochet. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you taking time to be here with me. I would love to have you subscribe to my channel, share this video, and give me a like. Until the next video, see you then.